What's up, everyone? Today I'm speaking with Sharise to talk about her journey breaking into tech sales. Sharise, what is up?
Hi, hi everyone. Hi Trent. Thank you so much for having me.
Sharise, why don't we start with what is your current role that you're doing today?
Yeah, so I'm an SDR for a software company and I started in May. I'm loving it and I finished Course Careers back in November. So I started interviewing and applying for jobs in December. And I went through over 100 interviews, or not interviews, but I applied for 100 jobs and I got about 7 interviews, and I just was persistent, and I finally landed a job and I'm really happy here. And yeah, I would say actually I just got recognized as one of the top opportunities that I brought to my company. So I got to speak at our town hall meeting for the second quarter. So that was my first meeting ever. And they said, hey, you've been picked and you brought in 300,000 in pipelines. So it was exciting.
Those are big numbers. What did you say on the town hall?
Yeah, they just wanted one particular opportunity that I brought to the company, and they wanted me to go into how I did it. And this call was on Zoom to everyone around the world. There were people in Costa Rica, in Tokyo, they were listening, and they just wanted me to explain my process and how I was able to communicate with this person, ask the right discovery questions, lead with curiosity. And that's how I landed it. So they were like, yeah, this is the top up. So it was great.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Congratulations. So it sounds
Thank
like
you.
it's been going pretty well the last few months being an SDR. What were maybe your expectations coming into it, and compared to now the reality of being in it for a few months?
Yeah, I would say my expectations after going through Course Careers, I will say it really prepared me because a lot of terminology used, I didn't even have to look up a dictionary like what is vertical? Like what does that mean? Like I just knew exactly what it meant. My expectation going in was I knew it was going to be a lot of cold calling, I knew it was going to be communications, and I will say even just when I first heard about Course Careers, I thought, "Oh, I don't know if I'm good enough for sales or I don't know if I can do it," but I knew that I was good at talking to people. So that was my expectations, was to be able to connect with people in tech and be able to sell a product. Going in, I after I did my onboarding, it was a little bit different than I expected because I'm doing inbound and outbound calls. So we have people who call in who are interested in our product. So it was a little bit different, but I think it was great because it's a great way to segue into actual just complete cold calling. And I would say it was better than I expected, knowing how to do your schedule, Google Calendars. Thank you for that. I know that was part of Course Careers. That has been something that really helps me because when you're out there and is remote, you got to know exactly how to manage your day. So I would say that was one thing that I really had to learn was how do I manage my day? How do I create my calendars and make sure that I'm hitting all of my quotas and KPIs by end of day?
What was your experience like going through course careers?
It was exciting, I will say, and I just have to point this out to anyone who's listening. I used to watch Trent on YouTube, watch all of these interviews, and I was like, "Oh man, that would be great if that's me someday." So I can't believe it's happening. And I would say, just going through it, I just wanted to make sure that I got everything. So it took me the entire 3 months. I read every book. I took notes. I have an entire notebook with notes on spin selling. And I think the biggest one that really helped me was fanatical prospecting. I brought that up in my interview, and I think that landed me the interview because the sales director happened to have the book too. So I just took an example from that. And he's like, oh my God. So he just went to grab his book. And he's like, and I had mine. I was like, yeah, I just keep it on my desk. So I would say that I had a group of people that were also going through Course Careers, and we just bonded and we did the final exam together. So we did a study group. I think I was more focused on this than anything ever before. I crunched for like hours to prepare for that final exam, and I got, I believe, an 88%. I can't remember it, but it was my first try. So I was really happy with it. But I think it was a great journey. I wouldn't trade it for the world, honestly.
What were you doing before tech sales?
Yeah, so I was actually in the entertainment sector. So I was working for a company, and I don't want to name the name, but I was in entertainment and it was kind of not a great working environment. So I left. So for the year before I got into Course Careers, I was unemployed. I thought it would be easier to get another job. It wasn't. I got to a point where I'd applied for over 200 jobs and nothing was happening. So I happened to be watching YouTube and just watching a travel video, and a girl mentioned Course Careers and how she went through tech sales. I was like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm good at sales, but it just kept coming up. Like every time I turned around, Course Careers came up. So I said, okay, well, let me try it. So it was literally me jumping into a new profession. And so but I was willing to learn it all, coming from entertainment and learning tech, learning everything there is to learn about sales, even. So, yeah. And I will say it has changed my life.
What are some of the ways it's changed your life?
Well, I'm no longer financially in debt. I'll say that first. So that's good because I definitely was like, oh, geez, I only have like $5 in the bank account. So I could say that's different. But I think just the way I approach people, I am more confident when I talk to people. I'm able to go into a meeting and ask like very good questions. Whenever I call someone, a lot of people, especially myself, we were afraid of cold calling. I was really nervous about that. But now that I've done it, I'm so used to it at this point that when someone answers, even if they're like giving me some, pushback or objections, I just know how to handle it. And I know that that has taken, it's taken precedence even in my real life, or I won't say my real life, but outside of work. Like I just know how to approach people and just have that confidence, and I know that I got it from learning tech sales.
Well, that's amazing. You had mentioned completing course careers, having a positive experience, applying to 100 companies, but then before course careers, you applied to 200 companies with no success. What did you maybe do differently after you went through course careers and learned the material to then break through and get the job?
I would say the most important, I did talk to a few coaches in course careers as well, so I would highly recommend that as well. After I did the course, I learned about Apollo, and I know you mentioned Apollo in the course. That really made the difference, is actually just reaching out to different recruiters, managers, being able to go on LinkedIn, find emails, send them an email like, hey, I would be a great SDR or BDR, and I would get responses from that. And I will say that in the 7 interviews I did, I, for the most part, got to the final round. So it was kind of devastating when I wouldn't get the job, because even from my first interview, I got to the fifth round and it was my first time. And I even had that manager offer to mentor me, but I didn't get the position. So I was like, well, what did I do wrong? But I just took the approach of even just prospecting, honestly, just what I learned in course careers. Okay, treat applying for jobs as you would treat cold calling, as you would treat prospecting, and just look at them that way. And so I just broke it down like, okay, I'm going to call this many companies in a day, I'm going to send this many emails out. And that's the way I approached it. And I just said, if that's the case, if this is what the job entails, then this is a great practice for me. And I just had that mindset going into jobs and interviews, and it just made the process faster to find a job.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your past self, imagining all the job seekers that are watching that were like you maybe a year ago?
Don't give up. It's a long process, but you learn something in each experience. Take take the time to read the books that you, Trent, have recommended. That is so important, to read the books, to take your time. Don't try to speed through it. I mean, kudos to the ones who got through it in a week or so, but I would say it's so much information, and you want to make sure that you're internalizing it. So take that time and don't feel bad if it's taking you the entire 3 months. This is not a race, this is your life. So just process everything. I just made that up on the fly, by the way. But yeah, just process everything. Take the experience of course careers in, because it will be the blueprint for the rest of your life. So that would be my advice, is just be patient and just keep going.
I like that. This is not a race. This is the rest of your life.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Well, Sharice, thanks so much for being here today and the wise words, and happy to hear you're doing well, and we're presenting to your entire company. That's really exciting progress, and keep it up.
Thank you, Trent. Thank you for having me. And yeah, best of luck to everyone listening.